This is Xiaomi CIVI 3, a magic phone. The very first moment when I touch it, I already knew this is hard to judge. It is not a big guy, slender shape which is easy to hold. It is light and thin. But what is wrong with the frame? I've seen people make plastic like metal, also seen people make metal like plastic. But I've never seen anyone make plastic that much pranky. And it's pranky mostly around the area of a volume button and a USB port. Luckily, my little finger has already get used to tolerate different weight and shapes. And as usual, the buttons are still shaking, which is very typical Xiaomi. This is what I call magic. The design flaws on this phone are all sacrificed for one function, which is selfie. And that explains why there's only one speaker on the top, because the space is occupied by 4 lamps, which is producing 2 different color temperature. If it's making video, it would provide brightness adjustment and some funny features. Like this candle mode, which simulates the candle light to create the atmosphere. And it is different from the result directly cropped from the wide angle, because inside this camera module, which looks like a dynamic eyeline, is hidden a 1x and 0.6x camera. So you will get depth of field for solo selfie and a wide angle for multiple people. And you can also add some filters. The options inside are countless. Whitening and peeling are just some basic. What really surprises me is the fluffy hair and the smaller head mode. So, in order to see how powerful the magic is, I had to choose the maximum effect. And this is the result of it. Okay, let's back to the reality. A little beautify would do the work, and you can apply it on both photo and video. Something shocks me is both 2 front cameras are all support 4K 30 frames recording.
Hello， 朋友们，大家好！现在你看到是 4K 30帧的画面，我们现在来到了龙门号老街新修的这一片区域。
Turn on the web glow under 4K 30 frames, the resolution will automatically down to 1080p. But when it comes to the rear camera, the beautifier options are much less. Shooting the same person with the front and the rear camera, the photo you got will be very different. If we put the camera on other people or scenery, I actually quite like the image it generated. There's no excessive sharpening or forceful increase in contrast, and the color won't be dirty and grave like on Redmi. Like many other phones, you can never predict the video performance. If you activate the focusing mode, then the 1080p 60 frames will be disabled. 0.6x rear camera is not able to shoot on 4K 30 frames. And there's no clear signs that tells you the resolution change. I thought I was shooting 4K video, but it somehow turned down to 1080p and it's still 30 frames. The video vibration control, as I expected, it works but not efficient enough. Speaking of photography, there are some wonderful functions. For example, you can help each other to shoot photo. Person A taking picture for person B, and the person B can directly use their phone as the monitor to see what she looks like. But as for now, this is supported only on CIVI 3. Besides, both phones need to be connected under the same Wi-Fi or connect the hotspot from one another. Those 2 conditions make things not that much easier to access, so I would rather to call my friend to hold the phone for me. Overall, the features on camera are a bit interesting, but not much. And when filming, the temperature control is fine. But how about the other performance? For most of the games, there will be no issue. But when it comes to Genshin Impact, it will be very stressful. The FPS drops and the temperature rises. And no wonder the phone is so light, because wireless charging is removed and the vibration motor is downgraded. If the one on Redmi is like elastic spring, well, this one is more like a soft rubber band. You can still make do with it, but just not that good. When dealing with dating apps, the performance is enough for me. It will be still smooth no matter scrolling or when the screen split. But as the same as gaming, you can clearly sense the temperature rising, although it's under a nice indoor condition. But it is acceptable though. As for those awesome functions on MIUI, they're still working well on CIVI. Convenient image editing, AI creation, artistic photography, ID photo. These are extra points on this phone. Use it as a remote. That helped me a lot every time when I can't find the AC controller. 2 different fingerprints can access into different user systems. That is somehow equals 2 phones. So, is it worth buying? This is a phone with obvious advantages and disadvantages. The speaker sacrifices for selfie light. Its lightweight comes from the plastic frame, no wireless charging, and a cheaper motor. It's equipped in-display fingerprint reader, but it's located a bit too low. The front cameras are fine, but they are quite noticeable on the display. Those trade-offs plus an acceptable processor, which is enough for daily use, has made up this phone. And it reminds me of the Note series of Redmi. The series named with a number and the other with a T. Note 11T Pro is the one that sacrifices camera but strongly in other performance. And I still recommend it to many people who doesn't care about the photo quality. But I would never recommend the number series to whoever is focused on the camera performance, because no matter it has a high pixels or intelligent imaging system, the result was never satisfying. This time around with the CV3, I discovered that this is the direction what T-series should be aiming at. Although it doesn't have an incredible performance, but they did a nice work on imaging effect, and it really feels light on hand. Despite there are some small problems, but at this price range, I still think it made those trade-offs very worthy. Xiaomi CIVI 3 test fee gives 6.25 points as the subjective overall score.